Okay folks, we're back. Hopefully that's improved a picture. I've got a little bedside lamp here, or standard lamp here now on the situation. One of the things I've discovered is that this solder wick isn't any use once it's got solder in it, surprisingly. It goes quite rigid and then it just gets in the way, so you've got to cut these bits off that have already absorbed solder. So that's, well, that's understandable. So I've got a nice fresh bit here now, and what I'm wanting to do here is, you'll maybe not see it, but there is on this particular pad there's a tiny little bump, and I'm thinking that's maybe just a little bit of residual solder left there. So I'm just going to put the solder wick on it and press down gentle to see if we can get any extra solder out of there. Yeah, and we did. Doesn't take much. So now, what's next? I think we need to put a little bit of flux on there. In fact, there's maybe another bit here that's just needing a little clean yet. I really don't have to go to all this bother and then have it not work. So if I'm appearing to be moving very slowly, it's because I am. I'm trying to ensure that it's as close to perfect as I can get. But I don't really know a lot about it, so right. I guess what we do is apply a little flux. In fact, before we apply the flux, we will get one of these little units out of its tray. And that's not an easy thing to do, to be honest with you. So that there is the new capacitor. Sorry about the voice in the background, that's just the computer. So what's needed is some flux. I don't think it needs a lot. That's plenty. I believe you then orientate, called orientate. Orient. That's a funny word actually, You've got the orient, and you orient yourself with landscape. So you orient the capacitor on the pads. Oh, that's a shaky hand. And the two little, I want to say electrodes, but the connectors of the capacitor have to be centralized on the pads as much as possible. Okay. This is not going to be easy, folks. Not in the slightest. I think that there is 99% probability that I'm going to fuck this up. Okay. So, I believe what we do next is we clean the soldering iron. We stick the soldering iron in some flux, clean it again, and then we try to load it with solder. Uh-oh. That was a spring for the keyboard, but luckily I can see it. I've recovered it. So now we push some solder on there, and I think what you do generally is put a little bit of pressure on the capacitor to hold it in place, and then try and get your solder to transfer over. Which hasn't worked. Probability of failure is rising. So let's see if we can get some of that solder off of there, because that's way too much. Right, this light isn't in a very good position as it turns out. It's casting a bit of a shadow. So, that's any better there. God damn, this is awkward. That one seemed to go on a lot neater though. You watch you guys at this on the video and it always looks easy, yeah? Believe you me, it's not. The left hand side has come out lovely and neat, a nice little, it's maybe a little bit too much shoulder but not a lot, not a massive amount. But on this side it's like an explosion has gone off. The amount of shoulder that's there, spread about. Well, I can't make a better of it. I think it's down in place. So I'll get the next one done. Right. This is actually easier to get into than I anticipated. All you have to do is peel that off. Not difficult, as it happens. On to the second one. So we're chugging through the time, folks. It's 14 minutes already. So right. some flux on the pads. I don't know how much of this stuff you might put on. And then we move the capacitor into position. There really is no room at all. Okay, that's a good position there. Just check my orientation before I do anything else. Okay, that's fine. Now this is going to be a bit more difficult. How do I hold this down, apply solder, and hold the soldering iron at the same time? Tell me that. I think what I'll do here is, rather than holding the whole coil of solder, I'll just snip a little bit off, and that might make it a bit easier. I don't like that tweezers either. I'll get rid of them. I don't know how to do this. I'm going to be able to feed the solder in while applying pressure to it. How is that possible? It's not. It's just not. And of course I've moved the capacitor now.